Hey y'all, it's Ali from Little Hill Homestead. Welcome to our makeup series. I've been talking about this. Gosh, I feel like for weeks and weeks I've been talking about this, but we're finally here and it's day one of our makeup series. I finally had to get my butt in gear because the product that I'm making today, I hit pan on a very, very long time ago. What does that mean if I say I hit pan? Okay, so let me tell you what we're making today. Today we're making eyebrow powder. So I was blessed with very good eyebrows. I had baby caterpillars that had been with me my whole life. But as you're getting older or you have thyroid issues or just anything in general, right? They start to thin out a little bit. So I'm good here and then they thin out as you get farther out. Not thin like because my mom is blonde, she has no eyebrows. I've never had that issue, but I do have some spots. There you go. So the brand that I typically use is Anastasia Beverly Hills. When I say hit pan, it means that see the silver where there's supposed to be stuff right here. There is none left. So I'm gonna be upfront and honest with you guys. I have scoured the internet looking for natural makeup recipes. Some I have tested, and some I decided, you know what I'm gonna do is I am just gonna wing it. We're gonna do all of our videos and then we're gonna do like a side-by-side comparison. So at the end of our, I don't know if I'm gonna do it at the end of the series. I'm not sure if I'm gonna blip it into the beginning. I'm not really sure yet. Probably at the end, what I will do is do a side-by-side. So I will do an entire day of makeup. I'll show you when I put it on. I'll do one side, my normal products. The other side, I'm gonna do all of our homemade products. And I'm gonna put them to the test against each other. So obviously I'm gonna try to do somewhat similar colors so I don't look like what is happening here. So there we go. I will have a link below to our Amazon storefront. It is going to have all the products that I did have to buy for this series because like who has some of this stuff just sitting around? Not a lot of people. So I did have to buy a few things for this. Some of it overlap from our body care series. But I did have to buy a few things. So here we go. So we have a couple options for what we're going to put this in today. First, I thought, okay, I'm just going to put it right back into my same container. This, you guys, I've had this container and this exact product. I've probably used this for like, I'm not going to lie. I know you're supposed to replace it like every year. I probably had this like 6 or 7 years, you guys. It lasted forever, but it is not cheap. So I like the container. I like the press consistency of this one. So that's what I'm going to try to duplicate. For container purposes, we camp often. I like the idea of having a palette. So what I'm going to do, I found this palette. It has magnetic little, these come out. They're little magnets and they can pop back in. So what I'm thinking is blushes, eyeshadows, all that eyebrow stuff all built into there. What am I pointing you at? I'm pointing you at yourself. So I'm going to build it in here because I like press consistency. If you are somebody who likes more like a powdered consistency, I did find some little containers. They're just like a little wooden top and they're frosted glass. I got those for, I think I don't know, there's like 12 of them over there for like $4. And then the other option that I found, if you're being really frugal, were these tiny containers. They're just a clear plastic. And honestly, it was like $3 for a million of them. I have a ton of these. So I'm going to kind of see what works best for what we're making and kind of build it from there. Because obviously if you're building makeup, you have to have somewhere to put it, right? The other things that we are going to use pretty much in all of our videos is colors. You need things to color your makeup, right? So you can have, I don't know what that was. You can have natural colorants like cocoa powder, cinnamon, ginger, beetroot, and what's the other thing we're going to be using? Not saffron, hibiscus petals. So those are some natural things we're going to use in some of them. Majority of them are really easy to get a hold of, or I'm going to show you how to make the beet powder. The other things, and we did buy these. You can use, I don't know if you say it mica or mica powder. These are powdered colorants. They are very, very bold, bright. There's a million colors in here, you guys. We're gonna have some fun with some eyeshadows. There's like metallic. These are all metallic. That's the only problem with these, by the way. If you're doing the mica, they're all glittery looking. They're all gonna have a metallic look to them. So obviously you don't want that in some of your products. I don't want my eyebrows to be glimmery brown. So I also was able to get some iron oxide pigments. And so I did pick those up. Those don't have glimmer in them at all. I'm hoping that we can use the brown and black today to make a good combo for the eyebrows. Maybe a touch of yellow. We'll see. Anyways, so I'm going to be using those today. You can use cocoa powder. Like I was saying, cocoa powder, ginger, and cinnamon. If you have like reddish hair, add some cinnamon into yours. If you are more blonde, go with more like a ginger color. And then if you have dark brows like me, you can go with cocoa powder. So those are kind of our options here. Goodness, get on with it, lady. Y'all don't know what happened. My camera cut out there. So I have a little tiny glass dish. This says cornstarch. I reuse containers in case you haven't figured that out. This is the arrowroot powder from Azure Standard. I just needed a container to put it in. So we're going to be doing 1 teaspoon of our arrowroot. We're going to use that kind of like you would use a carrier oil with essential oils. These can be pretty intense on their own. And so to make it thinned out a little bit, we're just going to use a little bit of that. So for me, my eyebrows, like I was saying, are pretty dark. And so I'm going to use a combination of brown and black. If you are blonde, I would do more ginger, like the spiced ginger. If you maybe add like a tiny bit of brown to it, depending on how fair you are. If you have gray hair, I would do just a little bit of black in with our white, just a tiny bit. If you have dark hair like me, I'm going to show you. And then if you have red hair, I would stick with more of just this, maybe with a little bit of the red iron oxide, because it's kind of got that gingery look. You can also use cocoa powder, cinnamon to add some red into it. Think of like the spices you have in your kitchen. You can totally use those. So I'm going to be adding I'm going to do 1/2 teaspoon of my brown. Into our bowl. And then I'm going to be doing 1/4 teaspoon of the black. Like I said, the brown to me is a little too bold. This is where you're going to have to kind of decide what looks best on you. All right. We'll do it. What's the worst that'll happen? We'll have to redo it. I'm going to use a toothpick to mix our stuff together. If I find that doesn't work, I'll just use my measuring spoon. The brown, for some reason, is a little bit clumpier than the black. Should have ran that through my little sifter, but yeah, we're going to use a little spoon because my brown is kind of not doing what I want it to do. So you can run this through your coffee grinder if you prefer. I don't want to have to clean it that much, to be honest. Okay. What are we looking like? I should have brought a brush out here so we could test it. Is this sticking a little bit? This is the worst noise. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to hold that away from the mic. So just keep stirring until you're like, yeah, that's a nice consistency. You don't have big orange chunks in there or black chunks or anything like that. Okay. We have a beautiful like brown color. It would be a good eyeshadow actually. All right. I still have some clumps of the brown, of the orangey in there. I'm just going to go with my finger and kind of make sure they're all dispersed in there. I don't know why the brown is doing that. So for me, I'm pretty dang happy with this color because it's a little more like what my eyebrows are. So as a kid, I was actually, when I was born, I was blonde. My mom said I was so blonde it looked silver, but I always had these very dark eyebrows. So one of those weird fun facts. Okay, so there we go. There's our, you can kind of see the color we're ending up with too, all over my hands. So that is the color that I'm going to use. It's hard to see with the light in here, but there you go. To this, to make it, so you can leave it like that and just use it as a powder if you want. I like mine a little more in a container for travel purposes and stuff. I feel like I can have a little more control over it. Otherwise, it's going to get everywhere. So to it, we're going to add a couple drops of vitamin E and a little bit of rubbing alcohol. This just will help us be able to push it into our little pots. I need 3 drops of vitamin E. This is just a vitamin E that I get from Trader Joe's. It is a blend, but that's fine with me. And then to that, I'm going to add literally like 1 drop of alcohol. Whoop. The alcohol is going to end up basically dispersing off of there when it's in the pot, so we're going to be okay. But yeah, that's starting to bring it together a little bit. Like, it's not like so powdery. If you feel like it's still a little too powdery, just add a little more vitamin E or a little more alcohol. With alcohol, like I said, once you push it into that little pot, it's kind of going to go away anyways. So I've basically made cocoa powder. That's what it looks like. I'm going to do a little bit more. It's clumped on the spoon now. Lead by example. Do as I say, not as I do. I don't know what is happening here. Okay. So now it is definitely more like a paste, and that's what I want, to be able to get it into my little container. And then, like I said, it's going to dry out once it's packed in there, and we'll be good to go. Okay. Trust the process, right? Okay. So I have one of my little pots that I'm going to pop out of here. Let me rinse my finger off too. I've made a giant mess. I'm going to pop one of my little pots out. And this stuff, by the way, it stays put. So we're going to have some fun trying to get this off of me. So I have my little pot, and I'm going to just scrape a little bit. Let me do this on a piece of parchment paper. I'm going to do this on here because you can see a little bit better. So I have my little pot. I'm going to set it on the parchment paper, and then I'm going to pour this kind of into our little pot. Obviously, it's looking a little clumpy and funky right now, but we're going to use this parchment paper to push it down in there. Okay, now I've got that pushed in. I can fit a little bit more. Kind of even it out. And again, taking the parchment paper, and you're just going to go until it's full. Just keep pushing down. Some people say to use the back of a coin to do this as well. It's up to you what you want to do. Whoop. Okay, I can still fit more, y'all. Again, I'm just going to tamper it down with our parchment paper. I like the parchment because it's like paper towel would leave a funky pattern. So think of things that like aren't going to leave a pattern. I'm just going to kind of swirl my finger around in a circle. Try to get it to be even on the surface and make sure that it's all pushed into our pot. I'm just, by the way, spinning the circle. Okay, how are we looking? Boom. Okay, it's coming off the sides a little bit from when I was doing it. I'm just going to spin in a circle, take it off our sides. You see it? We have a little pot. My hands are disastrous. I should have worn gloves. We have a little pot of our eyeshadow powder. So what we're going to do is put that safely. It has a couple little spots where it kind of is missing a little product. Let's see if we can fill those in a little bit. Mostly the edges, you guys. And I'm sure that in like factories, they would have some kind of special tool to do this. Obviously, we don't have that. So we'll just do our little circle motion again and get it all pushed in there. Okay. There we go. I'm going to go after we're not on here anymore. I'll get a little towel. Actually, I have one here. It's totally destroyed anyway. It's got beet powder and this powder and everything on it. Like I said, this stuff's going to stain a little bit. So I'm just going to clean this off the tiniest little bit. And there you guys go. There's our eyebrow powder. Now, like I said, mine is going to be dark. I'm going to let this fully dry before I use it, but I'm just going to pop it into my little palette. I don't know why I didn't use an edge one, like there. So then in my palette, we have a perfectly little pot of our brown eyeshadow powder. It's not eyebrow powder. Let me go. Okay, I have a bunch left, and so I'm gonna put the leftovers into one of these little pots as like a backup. Maybe I'll keep one in my travel stuff and one, I don't know. I'm just gonna push that into there. I got a brush so that I can show you what the heck I'm doing here. And I washed my hands because this stuff is potent and it got everywhere. So the colorants are definitely like gonna stick to you a little bit. So I would, which is good because we want to stick to our face, right? So I would suggest gloves if you're worried about staining. And these toothpicks are gonna be perfect because we'll just chuck them in the trash can when we're done. Okay, I made basically would have been two of those pots. And it cost me next to nothing, you guys. The prices for the iron oxides and the mica powders are not crazy. The iron oxides are natural, so they're a little bit higher than the micas, whatever you want to call them. But I'm gonna use my dirty finger and push this down just a little bit. I'm liking the idea of a compacted product a little bit better to use with a brush than, so I'm just using my finger in here, you guys. Like I said, the alcohol is gonna come off of it, but it'll leave it packed in here for me. So there you guys go. It's just packed in there. Okay, ready? Let me show you what we got here. So this is my Anastasia, whatever, Beverly Hills. And like I'm saying, guys, there's like 0 left in here. But I'll see if I can get it to show up. So here's let's see if I can get it to show up. Here's my original. It's a powder formula. It stays all day. That's why I like it. I'm getting my brush clean over here, by the way, guys. And then here's our dupe. It's not totally settled yet, so. Okay. Can you see the difference? Not really, right? Mine is slightly powdery, but it's not fully set yet. But when I wipe it with my hand, they're both staying. All right, you guys, that is how we're gonna make our eyeshadow powder, or our Anastasia Beverly Hills. I have the dark brown powder duo. I only ever use the darker color in it typically, so that's why I went with that color. But what did we make today? We have our cute little pot. In this one, this is where I'm thinking blush and eyeshadow. I don't know yet. I'm debating on what all we want to put in here. And then we have our little glass container of it. It does come with these little plastic toppers too, so we can do that. But there you guys go. There's our dupes. I'm gonna show you one more time. Should I show you one more time? I'm kind of excited, y'all. Now let me do ours first. I'm just gonna grab some out of the glass. I'll do it right here. Ready? This is our color. It's on there. And again, getting my brush clean. Going into the commercial product that I paid. I swear it's like $40 for this stuff, you guys. Can you see it? That's not the right location. Here we go, ready? Wiping it. Ours smudged the tiniest little bit more, but it still is like, it's on there, you guys. So I'm excited to do a side-by-side comparison. Okay, I'm wiping them off and ours is still on there even with the towel. There you guys go. So there's our dupe for our pot. And when I run out of this, I'll probably just refill this because I'm used to using it. I've used it for so many years. But there you guys go. That is recipe number 1. If you don't use, I don't know what other products there are for eyebrows because I've literally used this probably for 20 years. I'm not a pencil fan. I don't use eyebrow pencils. I don't use pencils at all, really. So give this a try. It's really easy to put on and you can get a very light, natural look with it. So, oh gosh. Okay, I'll collect my thoughts before I do the next video. This is our first one. And I can cook like nobody's business, and I love makeup. I have a large makeup collection, honestly. But filming makeup videos is a little bit like out of my normal zone. So cleaning, got that down. Anyways, so there's our eyebrow powder, our Anastasia dupe, and there's a lot more to come, you guys. I got a whole book full. So be on the lookout for, I don't know what's tomorrow. What do you guys want? Don't answer that. I already have them filmed. When I ask these, I usually have them filmed in advance. Anyways, thanks for watching, you guys. Oh, and if you are new to our channel, hit subscribe so you can see the rest of our makeup series. And we'll also make a playlist that has all of them. So I'll link that playlist below. Thanks for watching.